We're told over and over and over that there's absolutely no way to tell whether or not someone is a man or a trans woman, as they call it. We've been told that you cannot tell an amended birth certificate from an original. There's absolutely no way to tell. Okay, if that's true, then why do we even have all of these requirements for women that have been adopted? If women who have been adopted have a state certified birth certificate and you can't tell that it has been amended or altered, then why do you have all of these different steps that women have to go through that have been adopted? They have to provide a blood test, or they have to go find a DNA test, or a sibling or a parent. The point I'm making is that it may be hard to tell sometimes if a birth certificate has been altered, but there are mechanisms in place. There has to be mechanisms in place for a genealogical society to determine the veracity of a document. Otherwise, why even have this little subcategory for adopted women of all the things they have to go through? Why wouldn't you just assume anybody that submits a birth certificate that it just is what it says, if you can't tell? And if you can't tell, apparently there are other steps you can take to dig a little deeper, to ask questions, to ask for other documents, I'm not a registrar, I'm not a genealogist, but I'm sure there are other ways that you dig a little bit deeper if there is a suspicion that it may not be the original document. Again, we're told over and over, you can't tell. Well, the other thing I would say is if you can't tell, then how do you know how many men are in the DAR that claim to be women? We've been told that there's 3 or that there's 4. Well, how do you know that? If you can't tell, how do you know that? How do you know that they're really men? Is it because they have said that they're men? And if they have said that they're men, and now that they're women, then why are they members of the DAR? Why did you let them in? Why did they gain membership? And this is something, people came at me so hard for this after Fall Forum, saying that I was just so out of line for saying that there were, quote, trans women present. Well, try to follow this logic with me. They say that trans women are women. Okay, so if you say that you see a woman, you say, yeah, that's a woman, that's okay. You can say that. If you see a trans woman and you say, that's a woman, that's okay too, you can say that. But if you see a woman, a sure enough bona fide female woman, if you see her and you say that that's a trans woman, everybody loses their mind and they're so offended. Well, why are you offended? If trans women are women, why is that offensive? And if that's the case, then you could say that every single member of the DAR is a trans woman. If trans women are women, and if you can't tell the difference, then everybody is a trans woman, or nobody is a trans woman. This is part of the gaslighting. Don't fall for it. They want to try to put the burden back on us to say, well, how can you tell? That's not our burden. We can cross that bridge when we get there. There has to be standards put in place to verify documents. We push back on members to ask if their documents are true. You know, if we suspect that there's an adoptee, we will tell her, you can't use this record. You can't do that. Now we don't have any problem doing that with them. Is it unpleasant? It might be a little bit, but all of a sudden now it's like, oh my word, well, we can't say anything to anybody. We can't question anything. If somebody comes to us and we know who that person is in our community, we know that they're a man and they've now decided they're a woman and they want to come join the DAR, we can't question that document. That's silly and ludicrous. Don't fall for any of that. We will figure out a way to maneuver through this, but the first thing we have to do is shore up our bylaws or adopt this resolution that we're going to maintain our name, our integrity, our historical preservation. That's the first step, and then we will figure out how to actually implement it.